Hi everyone, I wanted to show you how the baby snails are getting on. At the time of filming they are 12 weeks old and they're doing great. I've got two that are smaller because they're not quite 12 weeks old. They're about 10 weeks now, maybe 9 weeks old. There's a couple of weeks difference between them. I'll see how they go. If they stay tiny there might be runts. But I've definitely got 5 or 6 really, well, I've got 5 nice big ones and then I've got 3 smaller ones. And they're doing very well. As you can see, they like snail mix. There's only a couple of them out in this because I just disturbed them out of their tank to clean the tank out. Well, I'll say to clean the tank out, to change the food and just spray the tank down and everything and make sure it was clean on the sides. And I put them in here so they could have some snail mix while they wait for me to put their new food in their tank. And yeah, they're doing quite well. As you can see, Slimon is tucking in. He's always the first to test out any food that's placed near him. And he's discovered a recent love of dried mealworms, so that's what he's munching on at the moment. They're quite active. I tend to find these are active around about 11 o'clock at night. They don't come out in the day unless I've disturbed them to clean out their enclosure. Other than that, they stay pretty much buried under the soil, come out at night, have a munch and then go back. What I tend to just see is I notice over the course of a day or two the vegetation in their tank dwindling as it gets munched away. And I see the calcium biscuits being gnawed away. And I don't tend to see the snails unless I check on them at night. So if I'm awake at about sort of 11, half 11, I'll have a little look, and normally at least Slimon and a couple of the other big ones are out. I don't have names for the other ones yet. I'm trying to think of some names for them. I haven't quite thought of any yet. And plus I want to wait for them to be a little bit bigger. I've just named Slimon because he seems to be quite strong and active and doing very well. And his sibling, who's also strong, he's just coming out of his shell behind him. The others come out later on. So what I do is once they've had their snail mix, they go back into their container. And as you can see, they're getting quite big. They're still small for African land snails, but they're quite big compared to how tiny they were when I first had them. Like, they've got to the stage now where I can actually see them in their tank and roaming around and everything without having to like zoom in on my phone or anything, or like really zoom in when I'm doing video. And their shells are about the size of my thumbnail to give you a rough idea of their size. So yeah, they're doing quite well. They would, if their bodies are fully stretched out, they would stretch out roughly the length of the first segment of my little finger to give you an idea of the length of their foot. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with their progress. Like I said, I've got 3 smaller ones. But they were born a little bit later, and they might be a bit runty. I'll see how they go, because at the end of the day I'm not breeding these to sell or anything. It was just my experiment. I wanted to see if I could do it, and I will keep them as pets for however long they live for. So yeah, that's my little update on them. And as you can see, Slimon is considerably bigger than the others, so he's nice and healthy. And I believe these are the offspring of Rick and Alvin. I have had some eggs off Morty as well, so it's either the parents are either Rick and Morty or Rick and Alvin. I'm not 100% sure which pairing. I've found though that Rick doesn't tend to do eggs. He tends to make everybody else do it. So, but yeah, the big ones are healthy as well and growing. Theodore's really filling up now, and because he's a slightly different snail, so he's starting to go. He's got more rounded shell as opposed to a more conical shell. But yeah, so they're all doing well. They're all nice and healthy, and my little babies are doing very well, as you can see. And yeah, this is me just putting a clean face mask that I got just over the top, because I got the light on, so if I give them a bit of shading, it encourages them to stay out for a bit longer so I can film. Because if I film them with the bright studio light on, they just hide. They don't like to be exposed, because obviously in the wild they'd stay hidden because they're only babies and only come out when it's safe. So yeah, I've found as well, they do like cuttlefish bone, but only if I've ground it up into powder. So in this little tray, they've got some ground up cuttlefish bone and calcium, obviously separate from the food, because then they can dip in and out as they want. Because obviously it's not a good idea to sprinkle it on all of their food, because they can overdose on calcium. But I've found that they really enjoyed the cuttlefish bone last week, mixed in with some calcium powder, and I also put a bit of snail mix in last time, and they really enjoyed that. So yeah, they're doing quite well. They're eating a nice varied healthy diet. This is just some of the vegetables they have, and they do have another selection as well, and I alternate between the two. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.